Great. So now we shall turn to our next presentation. Cybercrime activities are often invisible until an expert analyzes the device. Gergő performs data analysis with the help of which online abuse against children, and digital crime details can be detected. His presentation provides an insight into the professional and expert work and the technical and human challenges, and through real but anonymized cases presents the dark side of the internet. The objective is to shed light on the fact that cyber resilience is our joint social responsibility. Therefore, I invite Gergő Kiss, cybersecurity expert, to deliver his presentation. And I think we are delving deeper and deeper. Thank you very much. I am Gergő Kiss, cybersecurity expert. And I work at a domestic enterprise as an analyst dealing with cybersecurity. We provide responses and answers to the various cyber threats, and we do our best to harmonize with our clients to find which responses can help best the resolution of these incidents. Apart from that, we also deal with digital data analysis, and therefore I was often approached by the police, and they asked me to perform the analysis of various data-carrying devices and provide an expert's opinion on those. Who is an expert? An expert has a special position in the criminal procedure, and the experts and the expert's opinion convey a special message. The task of the experts is to shed light on the various details of the crime and case, and according to the current legislation, the expert opinion is to be treated as evidence. Previously, when I worked at the police, I had two expectations towards experts to help the criminal procedure in a way by deciding what the facts are and to submit their expert opinion as soon as possible. As an expert myself, I have a very different opinion. We are living in a changing world where new techniques and technologies appear. In 2025, data protection focuses on every user, and we are in an increasingly difficult situation when it comes to the restoration of data and therefore securing evidence. This is the environment we have to perform our tasks in and come up with new answers every day in order to help the work performed by the authorities. As an expert, I brought multiple cases, case studies, if you like, with me today, which from a human aspect really touched me. And they shed light on human concepts which make the investigation of these cases difficult. This first case is a case from 2017, where in December, a little girl shared multiple images of herself, erotic images, with her lover, and made further videos of herself and shared those with the boy. The boy then thought that it would be a good idea if he showed these images to his friends, and in a few days, these images and footage spread like wildfire in closed groups. Similar images were seen in the chat rooms. The youngsters were talking amongst one another. The discussion itself was really a soul killer. The girl completely collapsed, and the entire procedure started out from the fact that the parents noticed at Christmas that the young girl was in a condition that required help and support, and that is why they quite rightly turned to the local police. One of the tasks was to gain data from these closed groups, internet groups, which is never easy because the younger generation are cyber aware. They establish anonymous profiles and establish closed groups which are very short-lived. And with forensic technologies, these data are very difficult to access. During the mapping of the relationships, a further 12 individuals were identified who shared these images or downloaded them. The result was that after Christmas, at the beginning of the next year, until spring, multiple search warrants were executed by the police in a case that had a very detrimental impact on a 16-year-old girl and her family. Another interesting case was the abuse of medical data. It concerned one of the professors of the Szeged Medical School. Leaders in medical institutions have access to the MedSol system, and therefore the MedSol system data is protected. Unfortunately to them, in personal and workplace conflicts, establishing an advantage for himself, enabling him to emerge victorious from these conflicts. This type of access was maintained for a prolonged period, and in fact, he also saved these data on his own device. It was the Szeged University that turned to the local police, and during the first search warrant, in cooperation with the university, a joint data detection, we could allocate all the data, even from the deleted stock, and we received a clear picture on what device was used to gain access to the data, and all pointed to the same user. The curious receptionist. I must say that this was one of my favorite jobs as an expert. We're talking about a male in his 50s who wished to entertain himself during the night shift by observing the women's shower in the dormitory that he acted as a receptionist of. The way he did that, this was an earlier case, that you could not actually order from AliExpress or eBay all sorts of micro cameras, Wi-Fi micro cameras. So he called upon his creativity, and in a shower gel container of the brand Boba, he put an HTC cell phone and started the recording and hid this shower gel bottle on the image on the left behind a radiator, as if someone had dropped a shower gel bottle and recorded anything that took place in the shower. He managed, therefore, to record many females during showering. The greatest problem was that in the case of this type of cell phone, if the battery is becoming depleted, it starts emitting a beeping sound. And one of the ladies coming out of the shower noticed that something was beeping behind the radiator. She went there, took out the shower gel bottle, which was visibly altered, and they looked at the recording. And I do apologize, I had to blur the image, but the man actually looked into the camera just to check for quality after installing the device, so we could instantly identify the perpetrator. And I also wrote that down in my report, so by the end of the first evening, this action was put to an end, and the night shift receptionist was indicted. I always emphasize that cooperation between various institutions is very important. The best results can be achieved if individuals and organizations share as many pieces of information amongst one another as possible. This was a procedure started upon Europol warning ordered by the National Bureau of Investigation, and due to lack of jurisdiction, it was passed on to the local police. What you must know about these cases is that when the given operator detects, because they have a responsibility, that illegal content was placed on their storage area, then they have to close down the account. And unfortunately, the individual concerned knows that they were involved in illegal activity once their account was closed, and they start deleting everything. And it takes some time for Europol to give an indication of this instance, hand it over to the National Bureau of Investigation, which then hands it over to the local police, who then perform a search warrant. What led to success was when I was called as, or anyone else as an expert was called instantly for the search. Someone living in digs in the same premises. Everyone was in total denial, so landlord and the tenant, but we managed to detect these accounts which fell in with the warning issued by Europol, so we seized every device on the venue. What was really astonishing was because we saw pornographic images made of children under the age of 12, which the individual tried to save for his own personal use. He actually had a folder with thousands of such images on his computer. My personal experience at the location was that he regretted that we were there, and he did not regret what he did. But obviously the responsibility is his, and he was held accountable. This was perhaps one of the worst cases I worked in, if I may say so. It was a county seat where a disabled person was taken in by a young couple. The young couple actually had a co-tenant. They could not provide adequate explanation for their action. They forced him to beg, they took his money away, they constantly forced him into labor, they abused him, they put out cigarettes on his body, they abused him and humiliated him sexually, they made him drink nicotine water or his own
mivel ott már köztük volt egy konfliktus.
His own urine, and they also actually started deleting all the data. We actually still were successful in restoring video footage from one of the cell phones. It turned out that they recorded the events which proved both sexual abuse, physical abuse, and also the fact that they regularly took away the little money that the person had. And on one of the computers, they left a series of images coming from a security saving from the cell phone, which made our criminal procedure successful. This was a really very disturbing case. We're talking about a girl under 14 who was an excellent student at a high school in Szeged, a very beautiful little girl. And she was also in the center of attention of young boys at that age. She got to know a boy, and she thought that the way she would like to put more emphasis on gaining closer acquaintance, that she first shared erotic content of herself turning increasingly into pornographic footage, ending up in really hardcore porn until they actually got together and they continued this activity. They recorded themselves and saved it, but the love did not last long, and the boy believed that he wished to share everything with his friends, so he shared all these recordings with at least 15 of his friends, but the girl believed that this is not the end of the world and she should look for another boy. The way she did that is that she shared the same images with other boys who then reshared the images with other individuals, which resulted in the fact that within 60 days, all of the students in the town gained knowledge of these images. When the girl realized that even the secondary school students living on the other end of town are laughing at her, she instantly collapsed, which her mother noticed. She kept writing to the boys to delete the images, the footage, remove it from the internet, but by that time it was too late. Over 30 search warrants were conducted in relation to the case. The main challenge here was that the young are really very aware, they're very conscious, they establish anonymous profiles, they know full well that you are not allowed to download these types of images, let alone share them, and they establish closed groups in order for external individuals not to gain insights, and they quickly rotate them, establishing new and new closed groups, and therefore we as experts do not see the actual act of sharing. All we see is that the images were constantly managed and downloaded. I had 30 such images available where it was self-evident, where it was completely evident that these were managed and downloaded, and a huge graph actually had to be established in order to follow the relationship network. But even the students themselves gained knowledge of the fact that the police was actively searching for the images and footage, so they themselves implemented security actions in order for the images not to be restorable. Unexpected visitor. I do believe that one of the nightmares of everyone is that the camera on the open laptop sees us. In this case, this is what actually happened. In the period when ransomware entered the country, it was caused by Eternal Blue, a stolen vulnerability. The scanners found lots of vulnerabilities, but they also found individual devices, these scanners. They entered this given device and put a software on it which was capable of constantly recording the location in front of the web camera and gained access to all the files. To the misfortune of this couple, the laptop device was placed on a table in their bedroom, and they lived their everyday life as a young couple in love when the unknown attacker came out of hiding and through an anonymous Facebook account made aware the female member of the couple that he had or they had recorded images that might be interesting to them. Otherwise, he will make the images public. And to the misfortune of the attacker, the young couple was not shy. And one of the reasons for latency is that people tend to be shy and they fulfill the request. But in this case, their first trip led to the police, where the investigation was started. And through the dynamic investigation, an IP address was recorded with which we detected a server that had someone renting it from Hungary, so we could identify the attacker.
As for jealousy and couples, there are plenty of criminal cases. I've never seen anything like this before. And this actually appeared out of nowhere just a couple of years ago from Asia. This is, well, actually a great recording device. And it is quite powerful, and you see several lithium batteries inside, and also a SIM card can be inserted. What we see nowadays, as there are several hunting cameras from China that work on the same basis. A SIM card is inserted, and from the distance you can actually operate this device. Actually, the battery lasts for 75 days, which means that it can be in a standby mode for 75 days. It turns on when there's an email. So the ex-boyfriend installed this device in the apartment of the ex-girlfriend, and he decided to eavesdrop and to record the conversation of his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend. We don't know the reason. However, the girlfriend found this device. She found the device, she turned to police. The SIM card and the phone number of the SIM card directed the police to the perpetrator. This is a very new device indeed. Back at the time, it was quite new. It was quite small and quite a professional device. And I think this is a nightmare of every parent. A mother turned to police. Her child told her that, and he was 9 years old, and he said, my classmate told me that if I put his penis in my mouth, he is going to give me money. And the mother and also the person, or the person who was present when this occurred erased everything from the camera. However, we were lucky because there's metadata on images and all the footages that are being recorded. Of course, it depends on the camera and on the phone. Sometimes there are also GPS coordinates that appear on a footage. The person who recorded these events, they erase everything from the phone. However, thanks to the metadata, the events that occurred to the little child. Also, during the search warrant, another device was also confiscated. But it was proved that this was the device who recorded the events with this device. So this criminal proceeding was successful, and also the professional evidence was attached to the case thanks to the metadata and the devices that were found in the house. Another case, one of the investigators was involved in this case, and she was the one who led the case. In the middle of the night, we got a phone call, and an adult man wanted to establish sexual relationship with a young 14-year-old girl. I helped the police. I received the phone, and I could restore the erased data. On the phone, we retrieved all the data, and the story goes. This man was previously convicted already. He asked for nude pictures online from young girls. He was previously convicted for the same crime. He wrote a text, he wrote a story, and he attached naked photos and pictures to this email of himself. And so he sent hundreds of such emails saying, you see, I'm brave enough to show myself in nude. Are you brave enough? And so this was the story. And unfortunately, a young girl replied to this email. And then for several months, she was blackmailed, and he forced her to send videos and images, doing anything the man wanted. It was not sufficient for this man. He wanted to meet the girl. He disclosed himself. So now you see him on this chat. He is speaking, pretending to be a woman. And then he disclosed his identity. The girl agreed to meet with this man, and she was quite stressed, and she was scared because she knew that she was 14. And then the parents realized that she was under stress, and this is when the whole story came to surface and came to light. During the investigation, we learned that 2 other minors were affected by this case. In this case, we had to work also with the prosecution office because the case was included several victims, and also there was a psychological evaluation carried out with the girls, and we learned that one of the victims, one of the girls, suffered permanent psychological damage because she was forced to do things against her will. As far as I know, he received a 10-year prison term in form of punishment. Next case, face swap. This is something I wanted to leave for the very end. This is a case dating back to 2016. The image above, this is the victim. So the victim suddenly realized that she was figuring on several porn images. She never did anything like that, and she appeared doing a sexual acts with another girl, and of course she complained, and the police learned about the case, and her classmates distributed and spread to this image because they would not believe that she was involved in such actions with another female. A Hungarian Discord server, which is called the Hungarian Leak server, was the resource of these images. This is actually it stores the collection of illegitimate sexual images. We had to identify the users from this server who downloaded these images. We could actually identify 3 persons. We managed to identify those who uploaded and downloaded and then distributed the images. And to tell you the truth, I myself had to check this several times. I had really had to examine it very thoroughly because I had to determine whether it was an AI-generated image. Indeed, it was, but a very high-quality image, and the face was basically glued and put on a body on the image that was retrieved from a sexual footage, from a porn footage. Indeed, this is not a real picture, it was a generated image. And in my opinion, we're going to see more and more of such footages. Discord servers, they provide a great anonymity for those who want to use this server. And with an expert's eye, it is very difficult to retrieve information that would serve as proof and that would identify the persons behind this. Although the Discord gives you an opportunity to try to identify the person through IP addresses, but let's face the truth. In 2025, the young generation, young people know how to find a solution, how to maintain their anonymity, because they know how to bypass such difficulties. On the Discord, we see not only profiles sharing such images, but there was a different channel of a person where they shared information and images and footages of their wives, of their ex-wives, and of their girlfriends. And now in other countries, you can register your profile with an ID and with an ID photo, and it because otherwise it is very difficult, even with the expert measures, to identify the person behind the profile. And I would like to thank you for your attention. I hope that I managed to give you a glimpse into those cases that as an IT specialist I was involved in, that as a person touched my heart, and as a person these cases touched my heart as well. I need to add that the successful outcome of several such cases was solved by and thanks to our joint efforts and joint work. And I'm sure that our joint efforts is the way forward. And I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you. And I'm sure I would like to reiterate that only unified work can lead us forward. Thank you.